Hi everyone from Get Unstuck Nation. Please welcome two of my special guests today to Get Unstuck Radio. Matthew Tutorial Low. I'm,
Hello.
I'm trying my best. Sorry to say your last name. And Kevin Shippey from Yellow Brick Management. So you might wonder what is Yellow Brick Management. Yellow Brick Management is a full service property management company. They take pride their ability to effectively handle all the aspect of property management process. And yeah, they find good homes to good people. So thank you so much for joining Get Unstuck Radio today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, we appreciate being here.
Thank you. So you told me that you have been in business for more than 12 years, isn't it?
That's true. Yes. We started this company back in 2008.
Wow. At that time. So how comes you guys become entrepreneur then?
Well, we kind of fell into it, I would say. We were kind of, how would you best describe it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I got encouraged to finally take the lead to
Bamboozled,
stop working hard for somebody else and making somebody else successful when I could work hard for myself and my friends and make ourselves successful.
Yeah, we kind of pooled together a little bit of money back in 2008, and we were like, oh, we're gonna make tons of money, and we're just gonna buy rental property, and we'll be super successful in no time at all. So we went and bought a 2-family, and we're still working hard.
Yeah, it turns out we're working harder now than we did before, but we're working for ourselves, so we like that, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how and why you entered to real estate industry then?
Real estate, I've been interested since I was 16 is when I had kind of dabbled in it, and I had read, which a lot of people say, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is a great book by Robert Kiyosaki, which it gets you all excited about real estate, but it doesn't teach you anything. So I was super excited, and I bought a little 2-family in Pittsfield, and didn't work out the best. Made a little bit of money, but not much. But I was still really excited, and I felt like real estate was definitely a way to kind of work for myself and kind of build wealth that way. And so years later, I met Kevin, and we started talking, and we decided to try this again. And it happened. Honestly, we didn't really plan it. I think the timing just happened to be perfect, where the market started crashing, and we found a 2-family that was bank owned, and it was needed quite a bit of work. So we're like, all right, well, he had a job at the time. I had actually just gotten laid off. So I'm like, well, I'll kind of, do a lot of the work, and Kevin will help after work, and we'll fix this up and rent it out and kind of, see how that goes. And so we just kind of stumbled into it, really.
Yeah, we knew that real estate, and we know now as well, real estate is a great entry point for pretty much anybody. There's so many different paths you can go down in terms of real estate, and you can do it no matter what your situation is. Little to no money, not so great credit, or having a chunk of money to work with, having great credit, having a skill set like being hands-on, renovation, that kind of stuff. There's so many different paths depending on where you want to go. So there's an opportunity for everybody out there.
Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about real estate, to have a mindset of buying for rent and buying to own the property, how these are different?
Yeah. So, I mean, when you're, if you're just buying something to rent, obviously you're just kind of looking to, work with a landlord or something like that, and just kind of having a place to kind of sit on and live. But I think when you're looking at to buy and rent it out and kind of grow over there, you got to really kind of start changing your mindset to more of an entrepreneur or a business mindset. And you got to look at each property as its own business, and you got to look at the inflows and the outflows. Your capital improvements, all these type of things come into consideration. You got to start learning about taxes and how you can benefit from taxes and what makes most sense, and start building, a team, because, well, you can't do everything. I mean, we tried, but we need, people to, we need plumbers, you need electricians, you need people that are working on insurance. You need a CPA to help you with the taxes. And especially as you keep growing, it just gets bigger and bigger. And if you try to do everything yourself, it's going to kind of fall apart pretty quickly if you don't have a good team.
Mm-hmm. I see that you also have in-house plumbing and also electrical department as well, isn't it? Like, what makes you make a decision to bring them in-house then?
So as we started scaling our business, one of the biggest kind of pain points I think we found were finding reliable contractors and stuff like that. And we had already started building our own property management as we were growing, instead of finding another property management company, because we didn't see any in the area that really met our needs. And so as we were scaling, we had already met a couple connections with plumbers and electricians in the area. And so we said, one of them had started talking about possibly looking to settle down and have a normal job as opposed to working for themselves. So we kind of worked with that person and brought her onto our team, and it allowed us to lower our costs, and not to mention also control because one of the big things with like plumbing and electrical is getting them there in a timely fashion, and that really kind of helps control your time for completion of projects, which is one of the things that really, if you don't are not on top of it, all of a sudden it gets out of control, and then you have all the extra holding costs, which really kind of eats at your profit.
And that benefited us in a couple of different ways, really two distinct different ways. One, on the renovation, rehab, flip side of things, where you need a plumber or electrical, electrician to complete the project, like you said, on time, under budget. But also it helped us deliver a better level of service to the tenants that rented our property in our rental portfolio. So when there's an emergency in the middle of January, if the heating system goes down, you need a plumber and electrician out there to resolve that. They can't wait a week for you to contact an electrical or a plumbing contractor, hopefully get them to show up. And if you did, they're going to gouge you on price. So it's going to become very expensive. So we are able to provide a quicker, faster, more reliable service to our tenants and do it at an affordable price point for us.
Exactly. It added a better customer service benefit. So we're, as opposed to other people that don't maybe have that in-house, we're, like Kevin said, we're able to get things done much timely, and therefore our tenants appreciate that. Once again, offering good homes to good people.
I am a first-hand experience having issue with the heaters for the whole month in December. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
The whole month?
Yeah, the whole month. Yeah, I was like, wow. I don't even know how I did survive during that time, but I did. So it's been crazy. Not here, not in Thailand, but in the UK. And I was like, wow, that's been crazy.
Yeah, we'd be in big trouble if we had a whole month without having a tenant having heat. We would have code enforcement on us. The tenant would be upset. We would probably be in court.
Yeah, it's very easy to file lawsuits. And even if none of that stuff happened, honestly, it just provides a bad level of service. And if they're a great tenant, they're going to look elsewhere to rent, and we'll lose a good customer. I mean, we have a lot of bad customers we want to lose. You want to keep the good ones wherever you can. So it's really, really important to be able to offer a product that people want.
Yeah, that's a good point. How can you know that? Well, because you are doing the property management, right? And it's quite a long-term contract, if I'm understand it correctly. How can you know that is the right customer that you really want to work with? I'm sure anyone always curious about this question.
You find out pretty quickly after they move in. Let me tell you, everybody's super awesome at the beginning, and then they come to your home, and then they're in there. And yeah, I mean, right before speaking with you just now today, I was on a call with what turns out to be a pretty bad tenant. They moved in May this year, so not, just several months. They have a Section 8 voucher, which means that their rental portion, they don't have to pay a small amount, a few hundred a month for their apartment, and that is based on their income. So they, the government, the state analyzes their income, knows that they can afford $400 a month for their $1,200 home. And this person hasn't even been paying that to the tune of about $2,000. And they've only been there several months, maybe 6 months. So they're already thousands behind. And they called me to tell me that today, speaking with them, that last week they are alleging that they had some kind of home invasion due to that the entry point was an unlocked window. And they didn't report it to us, and they haven't been back to the apartment. And the apartment's the heat is off, the electricity is off, and the apartment is left unsecured for a whole week. So we, with freezing cold temperatures here, are very concerned. And I'll be, right when I finish with you today, I'll be hopping off here and probably tracking some information down about that home to see if there's burst pipes, squatters, who knows what's going on in there.
The other thing what we also have to be mindful of, I'm not sure which building this is, but if we have other tenants in this, if it's a multi-family building, we have to make sure that they're being taken care of, because if the pipes freeze, it can affect them and it breaches their quiet enjoyment and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So never a dull moment. So you never know what you're going to get until you get it in there. But there's a lot you can do to hopefully minimize these things. Now these things will still happen, but we have a great screening process. We continue to tweak our processes. Most importantly, I always encourage people to have a process. Don't just wing it each and every time. Make sure you set a process up, follow it, and then reevaluate that process constantly.
Yeah, I think that's a key in any kind of business, is actually creating systems and processes, and then having them repeat and teaching those to your employees so that they can kind of run without you there, hopefully.
Yeah. And then taking that feedback and changing the processes.
Oh, exactly. Being willing to adapt. I think that's also a big thing about having
continuous improvement.
Yep, exactly.
I 100% with you, but let me ask you something. Since when you understand that your process has been proven that, okay, this is initially validated and you will carry on from this one regarding to property management, because seems like there are many factors involved, many stakeholders involved, and human problems always endless, in my opinion.
Yeah, the human problem and factors are probably the biggest thing, because they're just constant variables. But in experience, what I found is that the variables, are usually one of several variables. It's not just an infinite amount of them. And honestly, when you have some experience, when somebody starts telling you something or behaving a certain way, you recognize it for what it is quicker, and know how to limit the issue, or minimize the impact, the damage, the nuisance, and immediately take steps to address it. Yeah, we've created a number of processes to anticipate poor behaviors as well, or some of those variables. For instance, policies around allowing access to certain areas of a property, like the basement of a multifamily home, for instance. Allowing maybe washers and dryers at a property, or having a pet policy at a property, because we can anticipate the types of issues that come with some of those things.
And how you came up with the slogan of finding good property to good people, like where that came from?
Where did that come from?
Well, that's a great question. We've actually changed our slogan probably a few times, and we'll probably change it a few more. But I think it probably did come from a point where we had so much experience renting to and working with some very challenging folks that I don't think people should be ashamed at saying, listen, you're not treating us right. You're not a very good person, and we don't want to do business with you. So we want to do a great job for great people out there. And, we absolutely don't want to have associations with people that aren't interested in treating us and their neighbors with respect. So we always wanted to provide good homes for good people. And that's ultimately what we want to be doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's already speak for itself. Like I see, like, wow, that's very appealing. Like good homes for good people. Like that's like spot out for me. And how it's different from like become the normal landlord versus the property management, like as a more scaling level.
So, I mean, again, yeah, so there's like the mom and pop landlords that own maybe a couple houses, stuff like that, and they're kind of running it themselves. Maybe they're fixing everything themselves and, stuff like that. So once you start scaling, you have to think about, lowering your costs, efficiency of running the Home Depot for supplies. And I think it's really about becoming more efficient. And then also, I think the big difference that we talked about earlier, when you're going from mom and pop to larger, like really landlord property management company, is all about systems, because you can't scale to 50, 100, 500 rental units by doing the same thing a mom and pop would, maybe going there and collecting rent, every month. When you have 500 tenants, that's a lot of money you're going to be walking around the streets with, or a lot of doors to knock on. You got to create a payment system, a structure, working with different softwares that can actually collect rent, or they can go in and maybe make a payment into Walmart or a 7-Eleven and stuff like that. And then all that money gets entered into your system on the back end. So you're not having to take the time to enter 500 rental payments. It's already entered for you. And so you can now scale and work with all the other aspects of your business, and looking for more property to keep growing.
Yeah, a smaller scale person, a mom and pop business that owns just a couple of apartments will have habits. You know, they'll have great habits, or I mean, because they change their habits over time. They knock on a door on the first of the month to collect rent because they learned that if they don't do that, they probably won't get the rent on time. So they develop habits, and as you grow and you want to manage and handle more and more units, you know, those habits simply become processes, or like Matt says, systems in which you implement, because you can't now go out on the first of each month knocking on a door and being the landlord or landlady asking for rent. You have to, you know, set up an expectation or set up a process which people follow some rules. So it's like just evolution of doing anything. You take something from a small scale where you have great habits, you've refined those habits over time, and then as you grow, you turn those into larger systems that you can then hand out, maybe staff out to people and delegate.
Yep.
What would be on your mind at that time before you decided, okay, you're going to scale to property management company?
Are we crazy?
No, you know, what have we done?
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably. Is it too late to go back?
I don't know.
I miss having a job.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think that almost is actually a really good thing. I think there's definitely a point where, you know, you're like, oh my, you have, you know, some apprehension or remorse almost, like, oh my gosh, I'm scared, I'm nervous, this is a big step. Did I bite off more than I can chew? You know, that kind of a thing is a real thing. And then you got to figure out, you know, if you're the person that's going to push through it, or if you're the person that's going to, you know, stay and not change.
Yeah, I think it definitely was scary, because as you're trying to grow past that, now you're working, you're taking on employees. So now you have the responsibility of them and their families and providing for them, and, you know, to keep growing that. And I think that was the scariest thing for me, is actually starting to actually have other people that you're accountable, not just yourself. Whereas a normal job, that's, you're just worried about there, going, doing your thing, and then leaving and going home.
Yeah, no, still is every day. I mean, that's people ask me, you know, why don't, you know, have fancy expensive clothes and whatever else it might be. And I said, well, I want to make sure I can make payroll first. You know, I can't imagine, you know, pulling up to my office in a $200,000 car and then having to tell an employee that they have to take a pay cut because times is tough, you know? So, you know, that's absolutely something I don't want to take care of myself until I know everything is good and stable going forward. I don't think I'll ever get to that point, to be honest. I mean, I think I'll always be like, gosh, you know, I want to make sure everybody else is yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Delayed gratification. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, many people not many people talking about this, but I do believe that we remain at the same level, even though we increase the revenue or increase profit, right? Because that could reinvest back to the business or whatever the plan would be, depends on your goal. But you have to remain the same person that you are already be, because there are only few things that necessarily in life that already make you feel joyful every day, right?
Agreed. Yeah, and we do. We keep reinvesting back into the business.
Oh, yeah.
And that it's all about, just keep growing a business. What else can we do to offer, you know, our tenants and our employees are, you know, all right, now we can offer health insurance. Oh, next we can offer 401k. This is great. Now we're retaining good employees, and we're, you know, providing a better, you know, work environment where they want to come to work and they want to enjoy working, as opposed to, you know, just a grind.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, and the thing is, we see that reflected in a lot of our staff as well, is they see this as their business as well. So when something doesn't go right, when they see a tenant taking advantage or whatever it might be, or a contractor or an agency taking advantage or something, they become personally attacked. They become personally offended by it. They're like, how dare they, you know? And, you know, a cashier at a Walmart would certainly not feel that way if they saw that somebody not shoplifting. They'd be like, oh, that sucks. You know, they just wouldn't care. So, you know, definitely a connection and involvement is just a key part. And, you know, that's one of the biggest things I found is people are probably one of the most challenging and most important part of the success or downfall of your business.
Yep.
100%. And it's always this thing that you have to keep improving, to keep the culture together, to keep expectation together, and also keep your company going, right? Because if they are not happy and not healthy working with you, how can your business survive? Like that's very the key one, in my opinion.
Yeah, every system is great, and building systems are great, but if you don't have people that you trust and that can run the systems, what's the point of the system?
You still have to run it by yourself eventually, even as a kid. No one wants to do that. Yeah, we want to work on the business, not in the business. That's why you scale.
Exactly.
So how many units you are having right now?
Well, we got up to 500 rental units that we owned ourselves. And we, with the appreciation that's been going on, we've actually been selling off quite a bit of our units. But we recently started taking on property management for others. For the longest time, we were like, no, we're just going to handle our own units. Well, now we figured we have such a great team. We have really good systems in place that we might as well offer our services to the right clients and those that kind of are like-minded. So that's what we kind of been expanding lately.
So what is the plan right now then, apart from doing property management? Are you guys doing other types of business along the way, or what are you guys enjoy doing, let's say?
We're involved in all the other kind of aspects of real estate too. So we're trying to grow our property management business by now taking on a new frontier, which is managing for other owners and helping them grow their portfolios successfully, and with us handling all their headaches for them so they don't have to deal with it themselves. But now we're also looking at and have been involved in doing a lot of properties where we purchase distressed properties, we renovate them, and we sell them for profit. So basically flips, as well as wholesaling, where we actually help connect flippers to their project properties and make some money for doing that, of course, but also then kind of helping the flippers have a little bit of training wheels, especially if they're newer flippers, so they're lined up for as much success as possible.
And then on top of that, we actually went and got our broker's license. So we're going to actually open up a real estate brokerage as well, since it seems to complement it and might as well keep it all in-house anyway. Yeah. And then we recently, just a few months ago, actually started a YouTube channel, just kind of talking about all the stuff that we do and how you guys can learn from our mistakes.
And that's been really fun. We've already been seeing people coming to us and telling us that they've bought their first multifamily house, or they've made $15,000 last month. That was my favorite one.
That was awesome.
Guy made $15,000 in 1 month after having watched our videos, chatted with us a whole bunch, and he finally pulled the trigger and started trying to do some of this stuff himself. I mean, he had all the talent and all the skill he needed to apparently do it, but what he needed was the nudge. I think, that we
kick in the pants.
Yeah. So yeah, really, really cool, very rewarding, and our YouTube stuff it's been a lot of fun to do.
Exactly.
Awesome. So in case anyone want to work with you or follow you or basically know more about you, where can they reach out to you then?
Well, if they want to go check our YouTube channel, Two Guys Take on Real Estate, that would be the best way to reach out to us.
Yeah, we are actually trying to increase the content on there. We do a couple of videos a week already. We're looking to do 3 to 4 now. So yeah, Two Guys Take in Real Estate has been a lot of fun. We have so many people coming from our TikTok channel over to YouTube looking for more, longer content that explains, the little 60-second clips you see on TikTok, you can't explain a whole lot. So on YouTube, we have, longer videos in a better format where they can get education, insight, and some motivation to start careers.
Well, and they can comment, ask questions, and we've actually been doing some videos based on people's questions. Yep. So this way we can kind of have a community of education there.
Yeah, we got a lot of great people in there. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. In case anyone interested, just check it out at that YouTube channel. The link is already in the description. Thank you so much for joining today.
Well,
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you having us on, and hopefully we'll see you on our channel and say hello to us there.
Oh, sure. I appreciate that. Hey, thank you for watching this episode. If you enjoyed the show, you can subscribe here or here. And this is the previous episode. Check it out. See you next time.